Yo, 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 YouTube. Today we're going to discuss the sale of Collectors Universe, the parent company to PSA, from a public company to a private company, and what that means for your sports card investments and collecting in the future. Yo, 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 YouTube. Today's video is a little different. I don't normally make opinion or editorial pieces on my channel, but I felt like this one was big enough that I wanted to sort of share my take on it. I'm sure a lot of investors and collectors are wondering long-term what this transaction is going to mean. And of course, I'm talking about the Collectors Universe sale, who is the parent to PSA, which is the sports card grader. They also do coin grading and things like that. But for the purposes of this channel, it's mainly how does this impact card grading and the process going forward. Now, the purchaser, this went to a private company. I know it's an angel investor transaction, but Nat Turner is the one really heading it. And he's kind of a, I guess some would say, a tech genius. He's also a huge collector. His basketball card collection is, there's hardly anything that rivals it, to be honest with you. He's the one who bought the Jordan PMG for $300,000, I think it was. And at the time, that was a pretty crazy sale. Cards hadn't really taken off again. So that was big news. But anyway, he's started some other technology-focused companies and resold them for lots of money. So he has the capital to invest, and I think he knows what collectors want, need, why the investment is important, and so forth. So I believe it's a positive from that aspect. So it does go from a public company to a private company. Those that had stock will be bought out, and it will be owned as a individual entity and not listed on the stock market. So what does that mean? Well, it means you can no longer part own the company that grades your cards and authenticates your memorabilia and so forth. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. I think the company needed some new leadership drive, if you will, some new direction. They'd gotten backlogged with a lot of cards and inventory. Some of the customer service has suffered a little bit, things like that. And to be fair to them, a lot of it is just due to the rapid expansion. And the process that they go through is not one where you can just quickly change it and speed it up and so forth. We want integrity. We want our cards graded accurately. We pay for that. We want someone to take the time to make sure that they look at everything in that grade so that it is valid. So that's just kind of the situation that's been brought with the increase in popularity and using cards as an investment vehicle. Now, why I think Nat Turner is a great choice is, like I said, he's vested. He owns a lot of graded cards, high-end graded cards. The other thing is his tech experience and his access to technologies that I'm guessing PSA, hasn't really gotten into yet. So where I'm going with this is some sort of automated grading. That is definitely going to be the next step. I don't know that cards top to bottom can be graded by a robot per se. Maybe at some point. I'm thinking lower end stuff definitely could, but 1952 Mickey Mantles you probably want looked at with a discerning eye that can look for abnormalities, trimming, things like that, where the robot might struggle a little bit more with eye appeal, things like that. Robots would be perfect for the measurements and, maybe looking at surfaces, things, seeing things in a microscopic view beyond what we can do with our eyes. So I think there's value in adding the robot to the process. Now, that's to try to basically build a bridge between a human grader and something automated. I believe the end game is going to be making machines that will do the grading for you. For example, you go into your local card shop, you buy a box of cards, you hit something big, you want to get it graded right away. You can go back to the machine in the back of the store, put your money and your credit card in, whatever, however it does processes as a payment part. You'd feed your card into that system somehow, and then it would grade it and slab it right then and there and spit it back out to you. This would be by far the best long-term solution in my opinion, because it's on demand, it's quick, and as we know, when you're doing modern cards, it's very important to, if it's the new hot set that comes out, the Prism basketball or whatever, you want to get that hot card graded, you get a 10 on that thing. Your best turnaround in a lot of cases is going to be to flip it as soon as possible. If you're backlogged and don't get your cards back for 6 to 9 months, that adds to that challenge, and one that frankly is just not going to work long term. So I think that's going to be the final solution. Would it ever get to a point where the machine would be affordable and you could buy one and put it in your house and just get blank slab stock to feed to it? I don't know. I think we're looking way down in the future, but I do see a point where it would be accessible for you to simply put something into a machine and boom, you have a graded card. At least if they can get the robotics portion up and get the eye and the integrity of, with the robot speeding things up a bit, I think that's a great first step. So that's where I feel like this purchase lands and why Nat's interested in it. I think he sees there's a big technology need here. There's definitely demand. There's definitely money in it. There's institutional investors now buying graded cards, things like that. So it's no longer just a little collector community having fun grading some cards. It's much bigger than that. And he sees that and sees an opportunity. PSA is by far the biggest grader, the most popular grader. It retains the most value. Cost-wise, they're right in there with everybody else. So I think it was smart on his choice to look at going to PSA and seeing if he can do something to take them where they're at and move them into an even higher step. I believe PSA needs capital, so I think that's part of the move here, was to get some money injected into it. I also think that they weren't grading all the cards on purpose because they were trying to control their income, and so I think they were doing so many at a time to watch where it was as far as money coming in and money going out, because they don't charge you until they grade. So I think that was part of the motivation of being a public company. They were trying to sort of control tax situations and things like that. I mean, I was speaking off of my opinion here. I don't really have all that knowledge, but I do work in the financial industry, and that's kind of my take on why it got to where it was. That, and they just got overwhelmed. There was just so many cards coming in and not enough graders to handle it, and they want to keep their integrity, so they wanted to make sure that any new graders they got went through their school and were really prepared to take on the process and complete it the way PSA requires it to be done. So I think there's also going to be some other new technologies coming in. Again, that's really Nat's experience, is building on inferior tech and adding some superior tech, I guess would be a good way to put it. I think that they could improve the slab process. I think that we could have more fraud prevention added into it, even improve the registry, which the registry is great in my opinion, but I think there's some things they can do with technology there to make that even more solid, so we're not seeing fake slabs and guys cutting the slabs open and removing the slip of paper and putting a different one in, things like that. Those kinds of little stories you hear here and there. Whenever there's money involved, there's someone willing to scam out of it. So I think that he can add some tech that way too that will help protect the integrity of the collector, investor, and the company grading the card, which thusly turns into more money, because when people trust that it's solid, they're more likely to put their money into it and purchase that PSA graded card over especially a raw, but maybe, you know, probably any other graded company's cards. So that's where I think that the motivation came to complete this transaction. I believe it's a good thing long term, and I look forward to seeing what Nat has in store and what this company can provide us going forward. So, but anyway, happy holidays. We'll see you soon. Take care.